A wind chill warning remains in effect for southern Wisconsin, with the extreme cold creating dangerous conditions.
This is News 3 at noon.
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm Mark Kane. Thanks for tuning in to News 3 on this Wednesday afternoon. We'll get to all the cold news in just a moment, but first, meteorologist Dave Caulfield is here. We'll look at our first alert forecast. It doesn't get much colder than this.
It really doesn't. Madison, Wisconsin was colder than Mount Everest this morning, with lows of -26 at the airport. And wind chills across southern Wisconsin this morning were about -50 to -55. So very, very cold. And we're not getting much better throughout the day, even though we have the sunshine right now in Madison, the WISC-TV Skycam. We're up to a balmy -18, wind out of the west at 9 miles per hour, making it feel more like -37. So those wind chills are still going to feel like about -30 to -45, and that's in the afternoon, folks. The good news is that wind does relax a little bit as we get into tonight and tomorrow morning. Temperatures right now still well into the double digits below zero, -18 in Madison, -16 in Boscobel, and -19 in Camp Douglas. Wind speeds out of the west at about 8 to 15 miles per hour, making it feel like -35 to -40. Janesville feeling like -41 right now. We still do have that wind chill warning in effect until 10 a.m. Thursday for southwestern and south central Wisconsin, and until noon on Thursday for southeastern Wisconsin. As I mentioned, these wind chills don't really improve that much, so dangerously cold weather continues as we get into this afternoon and evening. And we'll talk about possibly some close to record-breaking temperatures as we get into tonight and tomorrow morning in your first alert forecast.
And a lot of schools are already throwing in the towel for tomorrow. It's running on the bottom of your screen, so that's going to be dangerous tomorrow morning. That's
absolutely
for sure. All right, Dave, we'll check back in a few minutes. Utility crews are working to fix power outages as soon as they're reported. Hundreds of customers were without power in Mineral Point, Fitchburg, Boscobel, Madison, and Janesville this morning. We're hearing that power has been restored to these communities. However, the city of Boscobel and the village of Blue River and surrounding rural homes have only been fixed on a bypass basis. That means there'll be another brief outage later today to fully complete the repairs. A Grant County man is being treated for hypothermia after he was found outside yesterday afternoon. The man was 76 years old and outside a home in rural Hazel Green. Fire responders say he had been outside for about an hour. He was taken to the hospital for his cold-related injuries. And Madison firefighters were called out into the cold to fight a fire on the city's far east side. 10 units were brought in to help put out a fire on Buckeye Road around 3 o'clock this morning. A neighbor saw flames coming from the roof, and the person living in the house was able to get out safely with no injuries. Temperatures were at about 20 degrees below zero at the time of the fire. That's without the wind chill. Crews worked in shifts to try to limit their exposure to the cold and the quickly freezing water. A city metro bus was also brought in to help the firefighters help them keep warm. Madison's fire chief says he cannot remember a colder fire scene in his 3 decades as a firefighter.
It's the coldest fire I've ever been involved in since I've been on the Madison Fire Department for 30 years. Anytime you play with water in these temperatures, a lot of bad things can happen. So the engines, we want to make sure we don't have mechanical problems and have them freeze up.
The cause of that fire is still under investigation. And in Janesville, 6 people need to find a new home after a duplex fire on South Academy Street. The fire started in the attic around 2 o'clock this morning. The building is considered a total loss. Firefighters were still on the scene this morning. 32 were called in to help out and took turns spending time outside in the cold. It's important to bundle up as you head outside today. As long as Wisconsin is under a wind chill warning, which is until noon tomorrow, it'll take just 5 minutes for frostbite to set in. Frostbite is your body's way of protecting your inner organs, like your heart, by cutting off circulation to your extremities, like your feet, hands, and nose. And a lot of places in our area are closed today to keep employees and staff safe. Wisconsin state offices and agencies are among those closed. The same with the City of Madison offices. Many colleges, universities, and schools are also closed. And East and West Town malls are closed until noon Saturday. The Janesville Mall and the Johnson Creek outlets also closed today, and many Madison restaurants, businesses, and offices are also closed. We have a list of business places closed today and tomorrow on our website at channel3000.com, the old-fashioned among them. If you use Pelletary Waste Systems, all trash and recycling collection for tomorrow and Thursday have been canceled. Anyone who normally receives trash pickup on those days will not have any pickup this week, but Pelletary says it will collect additional bags of trash next to the carts next week on the normal pickup days. And the ice castles hope to reopen tomorrow in time for Lake Geneva's annual Winterfest. They're closed all day today. Anyone who bought tickets will receive an email and text about visiting on a different date or getting a refund. And Madison water utility crews have to face the cold to repair broken water mains. Crews repaired 5 water main breaks yesterday across the city. Each repair takes between 4 to 8 hours.
Whenever there's a big shift in temperature, like we had, we kind of brace for an uptick in water mains, and that's exactly what we saw today.
When temperatures plummet, the underground frost line plummets as well, putting pressure on the mains leading to the breaks. But a major shift to warmer temperatures, like we're expecting this weekend, could cause the same issue. And be sure to stay informed about the weather 24/7 by downloading our Channel 3000 First Alert Weather and Traffic app. It is always free. Find it right now in your app store. In other news, the president of Wisconsin's Technology Council, Tom Still, says he's not worried that Foxconn will back away from its massive project in the state. The company says it's shifting its plan from manufacturing liquid crystal display screens more toward research and development. He says the company has invested $200 million in the state and is unlikely to pull out, but he does acknowledge it is unclear if the company will deliver on its promise of 13,000 jobs and a $10 billion total investment. Foxconn says it still intends to provide the promised jobs, still says taxpayers shouldn't be worried and that Foxconn will not get the tax credits if they don't deliver the jobs. A group of lawmakers from both parties will meet this afternoon to try to figure out border security. They're tasked with coming up with a deal that President Trump will sign off on before the government runs out of funding again on February 15th. The president insists on getting $5 billion for a southern border wall. He has left open the possibility that he'll declare a national emergency and use Pentagon money to build the wall if Congress doesn't allocate the cash. The USDA is warning parents about 2 chicken nugget products popular among kids. Tyson Foods is recalling more than 36,000 pounds of its white meat panko chicken nuggets. They may be contaminated with rubber. It has a use date of November 26. Purdue Foods is also recalling more than 16,000 pounds of fun-shaped chicken breast nuggets. The packaging did not include a milk allergen warning and needs to be used by March 11th. While Super Bowl fans are gathering in Atlanta for the big game, so are thousands of journalists. Many are spending their workday in a truly unique location. Mola Lenghi has the story from Atlanta.
We're on the BuyAToyota.com audio vault 24 hours a day.
Next with Dennis and Cal.
What the metrics are.
There's this quiet confidence about this team.
If you're listening to sports talk radio during Super Bowl week, there's a good chance it's coming from here, Radio Row in Atlanta.
CBS Sports Network live from Radio Row.
From the big national broadcasts to the local shows across the country, everyone has a take on the big game.
Now, this is the reason that I am picking the Rams to win.
The Super Bowl, but we're not going to allow this to become too big for us.
NFL players past and present make the rounds, sharing their expertise.
It brings back some fond memories.
Former NFL quarterback Boomer Esiason is part of the CBS Sports pregame team, and he's also co-host of a popular sports radio show in New York.
Now that I'm on the other side of the desk and I've been doing this for 11 years, coming to Radio Row, you realize the enormity of it.
Well, over the years, the event has really grown from its somewhat modest beginnings. Now it includes TV broadcasts, including our own CBS Sports Network.
I grew up in Connecticut, and I listen to WFAN, which is right behind us over here. My princess is on there, and that's kind of cool to see him.
I listen to 95 every day, so it's kind of cool getting from Florida to come see these guys, actually in person.
As the Super Bowl approaches and the hype gets bigger and louder, there's a good chance so will the sports chatter on Radio Row. Mola Lenghi, CBS News, Atlanta.
And Super Bowl 53 can be seen right here on CBS and Channel 3 this Sunday. And be sure to stick around after the game to see some of the changes going on here at News 3. And there's more to come on News 3 at noon. We'll see what Howard's working on in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
If you don't know beans about beans, we've got a tip to help clear things up and a winning recipe just in time for the big game. We love getting your emails. And recently, a viewer asked if we could explain the difference between chili beans and regular canned beans. Chili beans are simply beans that are simmered in a seasoned tomato sauce. And unlike canned pinto or kidney beans, which usually get rinsed and drained, canned chili beans aren't drained since the sauce is where all the flavor is. So let me show you a quick throw-together chili cheese dip that uses these. That'll be perfect for the upcoming bowl game. We start by mixing some cream cheese with a bit of salsa and spread that into a pie plate. And we'll cover it with some shredded cheddar. On top of that goes a can of chili beans. Yep, with the juice and all. This will give our dish lots of flavor. A little more cheese goes on top and into the oven it goes. Once it comes out, top it with some sliced black olives and scallions, and it's time to grab a handful of tortilla chips and dig in. To get this easy game day or any day favorite, all you have to do is go online and look for Champion Chili Cheese Dip. Between the saucy chili beans and the gooiness of the cream and cheddar cheese, you can't miss. I'm Howard in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen, where today we found a game day winning way for you to say, ooh, it's so good.
All right, Howard, thank you. The extreme cold sticking around until tomorrow, but a warm-up is in sight if we can make it to the weekend. Dave's got the details next in our First Alert forecast. Our Call for Action phone bank is open right now, ready to take on your consumer issue. You can call our hotline. Volunteers will help you with any consumer complaints. The number is 608-270-2833. The service is open every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday between 11 and 1. Let's check Wall Street at the noon hour. The Dow Industrial's up 334 points. The NASDAQ up almost 93. And Q106 Farm Director Pam Yankee is out of the radio barn today. So here are your farm numbers. And Pam will be back next week. Dave is here now. 24 more hours of the dangerous cold.
Yeah, and then we can start to see some relief in the temperature department, Mark. But this morning was absolutely brutal across southern Wisconsin. Madison, low temperature of -26. That is actually colder than Mount Everest on this particular day. And we're about as cold as the North Pole and also portions of Antarctica, not too far away from our low temperature. Still not taking the cold crown away from that city in Russia. I'm not even going to try and pronounce that one. I think I've earned that after the cold weather that we've been through so far. Wind chills this morning were just off the charts in a lot of spots, especially across southeastern Minnesota, like Rochester, -61, the minimum wind chill there. Platteville, -55. Waukesha, -55 as well. -52 in Baraboo. Janesville being a part of the 50-degree below zero club in the wind chill department, and the airport in Madison just off that number at -48. Still unbelievable cold showing up this morning and still around for a lot of us. It still feels like 37 below in Madison, and we have the sunshine and the wind has really calmed down a lot compared to earlier this morning. -39 is what it feels like in Lone Rock, and it feels like -47 right now in Juneau. Wind chill warning still in effect until 10 a.m. tomorrow for southwestern and south central Wisconsin, until noon tomorrow for the rest of the area. Temperatures right now are not much better from those lows. At the noon hour, we should start to get into the heat of the day sometime soon. Attention, Mother Nature, -18 in Madison, -17 in Janesville, 20 below zero in Juneau and Waukesha, and -16 in Boscobel. Downtown Madison, the Edgewater Skycam, a very deceiving look right now. It doesn't look that bad, but boy, oh boy, is it ever. Forecast high today. High, not low. High of -14, about 35 to 40 degrees below normal. And we're still talking about some dangerous wind chills, even though the wind will relax a little bit tonight, which is good news. But still, frostbite can occur in about 5 to 10 minutes when we talk about wind chills of about -45 to -50. We have to wait until we get to early on Friday to get those wind chills out of the territory of below zero. And we're talking about some crazy cold, so I just thought I'd update you. We are now sub 50, not in the wind chill department, but in the days until spring department, so we can have those positive thoughts there. Now tonight, I mentioned the wind does get a little bit better, so our wind chills will be a little bit less compared to what we experienced this morning. However, our temperatures might be a little bit less as well. Our forecast low is -30, and we've only gotten into the -30s or colder in Madison twice in history. We could add the third time that's happened by the time we get to later tonight. Still not going to break the all-time record low temperature of -37 set back on this day in 1951, but we are definitely going to be up there on one of the coldest mornings and coldest days that we have ever experienced in Madison. So we'll take a look at that on Future Track. These temperatures maxing out in the -14 to -15 range, and then a lot of -30 showing up. Some of us could get closer to -35 if that wind chill, that wind in general does relax a little bit quicker tonight into tomorrow. So dangerously cold as we wake up on Thursday. Then some improvement starting to show up in the temperature department by Thursday afternoon, and a little bit of snow is possible Thursday afternoon and evening, about an inch of totals. That's about it. And temperatures are getting a little bit warmer as we get into this weekend, and a big temperature swing by the time we get to about Saturday and Sunday. We're looking at a 70 to 75 degree temperature swing from tomorrow morning to the afternoon on Sunday. So that could cause more problems than it alleviates, because a lot of that snow will start to melt, and it will melt quickly. So we're not out of the woods yet just because we're talking about those warmer temperatures. We also could be looking at threats associated with that as well.
It's hard to believe we've only been 30 below twice in the history of the city.
Right. And we could add a third to that as we get into tonight.
It's cold.
Yeah.
It is that cold.
It really is.
Be careful, folks. There's more to come on News 3 at noon. Well, this is a heartwarming story. At noon. Well, as we all know, life doesn't slow down because of the weather. A couple in Iowa learned that firsthand. Nick Wigg caught up with them shortly after the arrival of their new baby.
It was kind of crazy. It went so fast.
Scotty Abram had just returned home with wife Cassie after the hospital sent them home. Next thing they know, Scotty Jr. is ready to make his debut, and he's not waiting for a trip back to the hospital.
I was wondering, is the baby going to be okay? We're at home. We're by ourselves.
First responders were on the way, but in a matter of minutes, Daddy became Dr. Daddy.
I was delivering a baby the next minute. And then the fire department showed up, and they were so helpful. They were calm, cool, and collective.
Firefighter Shane Mell was among the crews who responded, helping the family. But their response goes far beyond a health check and a trip to the hospital.
We realized there was quite a bit of snow in the driveway. We started requesting some additional help from other units.
Some of that additional help took care of the driveway, so Mom and Dad didn't have to.
They were all out there. It was like a teamwork thing. It was great.
We do anything that we can to help the individuals that need help.
And from this family who experienced that good deed firsthand, a simple but heartfelt message.
Thank you, God bless you, and we really appreciate it.
People helping people. Baby Scotty Jr. weighed in at 6 pounds, 18 inches long. We're told that everybody is happy and healthy and ready for this weekend's warm-up, as we all are, Dave.
Yeah, absolutely, especially when we talk about temperatures in the -30 range, which are possible tonight. Wind chills of -30 to -45, even some -50s are possible later today.
Don't go out if you don't have to. We'll see you back here at 4.